I wanted to make this video for the VIP club. You guys are so special, and I would like to share a little bit of the information today on how I am investing in my 401k. I made these changes that I am going to talk to you in this video that made such a big difference in the past few years. I wish I knew about this information in the past. I found this information. I made my changes 3 or 4 years ago, and now I am seeing the results. So as always, this is not financial advice, but I want you to know this information because you can research a little more and find out what is the best strategy for your own investments for the future. When I opened my 401k in 2 other companies I worked before I worked for the company I currently working, they offer me a 401k, which is a savings for my future. And they even offered to double whatever I contribute up to 6% of whatever I contribute. So I decided to do the smart thing that we always listen on videos or we hear on the news. And it's about taking advantage of this great benefit where the company that you work for will double your investment. And this is really good. And I always recommend everyone to invest in their 401k, especially if they get a match, because this is free money. The problem is that I was not investing in the right places. I was not putting my money to produce in the best way possible. And I'm gonna tell you why. The reason is because they have certain investments, and like always, they have low, medium, and high risk. So exactly, I really don't wanna have anything in really high risk, but also when you invest in low risk, what this means is that your money doesn't grow as much as it should. So if you look at this chart, you will be able to recognize some of these plans that they give you to choose from. For example, if you plan to retire in 2065 or 2045 or 2030, and depending on that, they will invest your money depending on your age of retirement. But especially if you're planning to retire in the next 5 to 10 years, they are going to invest most of your money in bonds. And this is the biggest issue because bonds sometimes don't even cover the inflation amount we are suffering. So when you look at the other investments, sometimes it's very hard to choose from what do you want to select and what is really a good choice for your investment strategy. So after I did my research, I just looked into many of the companies, and some of them, they had a really high expense ratio. This is something that you need to look for because a lot of the expense ratio, whatever they charge you for fees, could be actually eating all your profits every year. And at some point, I had an expense ratio of about 1%, and my investments were giving me only about 1.1 to 1.3%. This is crazy. So I was not making any money, but the mutual funds where my money was invested, they were actually making a lot of money instead of me. So these are the changes that I made. So I don't make this video really long. When you go into your 401k, you can actually select your current money and your future investment money. So what I did is I took the current money and I split it into 2 investments. So I took my future investments that they are going to be investing my money that I'm going to earn in the future in my job, and I modified those to 2 only investments. And these are the ones. Number 1, which is the biggest, that I am going to invest 80% of my money, and that I moved 80% of my money 3 or 4 years ago, is the Vanguard 500 Index Institutional Select. And if you can see, this one has a very low expense ratio, and that is exactly what I'm looking for. It is 0.01%. It also has a dividend returning a yield of 1.43%. So as you can see, this Vanguard Index Fund images really close to the S&P 500, which are the 500 best companies in the stock market. So it's going to perform according to the S&P 500, which has been grown really well. So let's look at the performance of this index. So looking at the past year, it actually did really well, returning over 26%. In the past 3 years, returned about 10%, 9.99. And as you can see, it's very close to the S&P 500 index. In the past 5 years, it returned over 15%, and since inception, it has returned over 14% average per year. This index fund has some of these very well-known companies. So these are the 10 largest stocks in the index. And the sector diversification that this index has, you can see it here on the screen, which is invested very largely in information technology, most likely due to all the growth that many of these companies have had in the past few years. So this is the main investment that I have, easy. In the S&P 500, I am investing 80% of the money that I am contributing into my 401k, and my company matches as well. But this is how I am investing the other 20%. So to diversify, I put my other 20% into a Vanguard Small Cap Index Fund, VSCIX. This is also offered by my company 401k, and this one has an expense ratio of 0.04%. This is usually based on small and medium market caps, and as you can see, it also has a yield of 1.49%. The performance of this index has been 4.5% in the past year, 8.6% in the last 5 years, a little over 8% in the past 10 years, and a little over 8% since inception, which was in 1997. These are some of the industries where your money is invested on. When you invest in this index, these are some of the main companies where your money is going to as you purchase stocks from this index. So after I made all these changes, I continue to see my 401k plan perform better and better. So what are your thoughts? I just wanted to share a little bit of how I am investing my 401k for my future, which is money that is going to pay for most of my expenses, especially after I turn 60, where I can remove some of these gains without having any extra penalties and also taking advantage of all these tax rules. So I hope this video will show you how you can look into your 401k or any of your investments and see how they are performing every year, year after year, as well as what is the expense ratio that you're paying for them to manage your money. I hope you like this video, and I hope to see you soon on the next one.